Hi, hello and welcome. Welcome back to another Onkruid video, another Soulstone Survivors video and an edited one. Two Soulstone Survivors videos in one day. I am not addicted, I don't have a problem, leave me alone. We are going for an elemental build today with the Arcane Weaver with his upgraded weapon, the Great Staff of Despair. Let's get straight into it. As I told you guys, I want to progress a bit horizontally instead of vertically, so maybe it's boring for you, but I'm just gonna complete everything this game has to offer either way, so for me it doesn't matter. And we're gonna go for the third map with all curses enabled. I do realize that for actual progression purposes, unlocking new things and achieving the new achievements and stuff, we do actually need to complete the more vertical progression, so the higher curse levels on every single map. But we will unlock a bunch of things at the same time now. Because this is an edited video, I think I'm gonna permit myself to have a bit of silence in there, so that we can maybe make it longer and go for an endless run again this time around. And the main gist of this build is gonna be that I am an elementalist. So I start off with a fire skill and I went straight into electricity. There's gonna be some frost in there maybe as well, but we're gonna try to steer away from the physical things. We're gonna try to steer away from the doom things, from the poison things. No, we're really focusing on the elementals right now. I'm the Avatar, master of all four elements. People can tell you what they want, right? But Avatar: The Last Airbender is probably gonna be my favorite show in existence forever. I really like Suits. I also really enjoy Bob's Burgers. I really like the aesthetics of Peaky Blinders and the main concepts of those episodes and stuff. Frag Shot, that's also no, but no. Elementalist. Summons a fire pillar at a random enemy position that is now gonna be on top of me, right? No, I didn't activate the rune, so it is gonna be on a random enemy. It looks potent, looks powerful. Might replace it in the future. But Avatar: The Last Airbender has this special place in my heart, you know? It's a show I grew up with and I then watched multiple times throughout the further progression of my life, really, throughout my further development. Firewall is elemental, but we might replace that in the future. Banish material. I don't really want to invest in damage increase already for a specific skill, but for all fire skills, sign me right the fuck up. And you know, it is crazy, right? Because imagine this, it's a Saturday morning, you turn on your television, you see the same Simpsons episode you've seen 15 times already, or Friends, for example, because they repeat those series for months and months, and they just keep on repeating those series, those episodes all the time. And you're like, meh, I've already seen this, it's not that interesting, I'm not gonna invest my time in it again. When it was Avatar: The Last Airbender, unless it was the Great Divide episode, real OGs know what I'm talking about. When it was Avatar: The Last Airbender, you were just like, yeah, I'll watch this. Whatever episode it was, I could never get enough of it. Alright, we have made the executive decision to keep our fire pillar for now. I think we're gonna try to focus mainly on fire skills. There might still be some other elements in there, but we got some nice fire upgrades already this run, so let's try and focus on that. And let's also stand in the corner a little bit to make sure that we kill the first 5 lords within the 15-minute mark. Colometh, Avatar of Ice. Little deja vu, little flashback. We know how to defeat this guy. We've done it multiple times already. Myriad times even, if you will. Easy enough. Multicast for the fiery missiles. Am I gonna keep the fiery missiles forever? I guess I will. Yeah, I will. I will. Sure, I will. Flame Wave. I would like to replace the lightning bolt for now. Area of effect on that flame wave immediately. That's beautiful because it needs to be large. It needs to cover my screen. I hope you guys have watched Avatar: The Last Airbender if you're in your past already, and if you haven't, please do it right now. You could also watch Korra, of course, the successor, the spiritual successor. Also a great show. A lot of people dislike that a bit more because they took some brave decisions and stuff in the design and the storytelling, but I still quite enjoy it. But I think I'm biased there because I am an easy to impress. I'm easily impressed as a person. It's also the case with movies like The Hobbit, for example, where the real fans, the gatekeepers, are like, no, you can't enjoy this, please, come on, The Hobbit sucks. They have this character in there that's not in the book, and this romance is just fabricated. And sure, I agree with them in some way, shape or form, because I think we should stay true to the mad lad's Tolkien's adventures and his writing, his literature, his prose, if you will. I don't put it past Peter Jackson that he went for a bit of a more commercially fitting approach, a bit more approach focused on commercial success. And of course, romance and stuff in movies are the main catalysts to achieve that success. So I understand that he changed up the story a little bit, made it a bit more appealing to the big screen, but that of course comes with a price that the real diehard fans that are interested in the lore and the actual story as it is written by the main master himself are gonna be a bit disappointed. Chaos Bringer. Firebolt, it's not bad, but I want to focus on the area abilities a bit more. I want to just put fields of fire across the entire map, make sure that my enemies have no position to get footing on. I feel like our area is fixed right now. It's okay, it's good enough, it's established, but I think that now we are desperately in the need for some more damage. We're hitting a lot of enemies, but we're not killing them quickly enough, so damage upgrades, please come along. What do you guys have planned for the rest of the day? For me personally, thank you very much for asking. I'm headed off to work in a couple of hours and it's gonna be a long day. On Wednesday, not only is the practice I'm working at just really active in general, there's just a lot of appointments with a lot of different clients all the time, but also it is this Wednesday, it's every second Wednesday, so one Wednesday it is the case, one Wednesday it's not, but this Wednesday it is the case. It is team meeting, and that happens from 7 until 9 in the evening, which is PM if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's gonna be a long day. Headed over there from 1 PM probably up until 9 PM. And if you can count quickly, that's 8 hours.
Man knows algebra.
And I can hear you thinking like, oh, at least you're making a lot of money then because of those hours, but that's not yet the case sadly, because right now I'm still working there as a volunteer. Today I'm gonna follow my first intake conversation. Really excited for that, because it's the first real psychological contact with an actual client that I've had so far. For now it was mostly administration tasks and also just researching some things, maybe working on some projects together, some workshops, but now it's gonna be real one-on-one sessions with a client. I'm really looking forward to that. Today I'm still following because I need to have at least one example of like what types of information they focus on in their intake conversations. And then from next week I'm starting up my own intakes already. If you are unfamiliar with the concept of an intake, by the way, I work in the field of clinical psychology, and well, it's all about helping people. And just like with regular physical health, when you go to the hospital or the doctor, they of course have to know what's going on first, what's happening, how long has it been there, what are the perceived causes by the patient, what has already been done about it, what does the patient want to do about it, what are their goals and stuff, what is the demographic information of the patient, does he have any past medical conditions, is he taking any medication, what is his family formed like. That's all things, well, most of those things that I mentioned later on in that summation are not things that your regular old general practitioner will ask you on every visit when you're just there like, I have a bit of a cough and a sore throat. But for us as clinical psychologists who really delve into the ins and outs of your mental health and your all mental well-being, we need to know all that information, of course. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. Today, the one I'm following is with a student in higher education in the university. So that's kind of the public I really want to be working for. That's the group I want to be active in as a practitioner. And then next week, I'm having an intake conversation on my own with an actual, like, adult, probably mid-30s, mid-40s, who reports problems surrounding worrying, excessive worrying, which can, of course, be debilitating in multiple different forms. It can really put your life in shambles, especially seen in general anxiety disorder, of course, where they worry about every single thing that can go wrong and it can happen. Also seen in depressive disorders, though. Most of the time they call it rumination there, but there's actually a large overlap in the concepts of worrying and rumination. Rumination was thought up as a concept to keep like the type of worrying that you have with a depressive disorder separate from the type of worrying with an anxiety disorder, because they used to think that worrying was something very unique for anxiety disorders actually. But now they've kind of come around on that, changed their decision up a little bit, and they have seen that, well, people that are depressed can often also worry excessively. This is easy, just a nice little kiting battle with this final lord for this level. And there we go. Not sub 10, sub 11 though. And you know, let's go. Let's do it. Let's try it. Go deeper. There we go. We are still desperately in need for a large damage increase though, that's for sure. Oh, I think I would like the multicast sort of flame wall. Then again, this already has more damage modifiers and stuff. The flame wall is gonna be way more potent in like clearing out the entire screen, right? Yeah, sure. I feel like our damage against lords was already pretty okay, so we don't necessarily need more single target damage. Vicious strikes is always very helpful, of course. Although I think that maybe I should have picked the multicast for all fire abilities there. Although I think that maybe at this stage of the game, vicious strikes is not gonna matter that much anymore because the enemies already have such high amounts of health that first critical hit is not really gonna make or break the situation. Damn, I got hit really badly right there for a second. Avatar of Fire. I'm gonna walk around a little bit and look for... I'm gonna take a movement speed upgrade. That has been a while, but I took a bunch of Leviathans. I see that there's a healing crystal right here, so I'm gonna try and head over there for a second because I think that I need it. And there we go. That might help. But this Avatar of Fire, this Lord of Fire, is kind of destroying me for a second. One of my revives just popped. Alright, it's time to be careful. Once you get in those endless cycles, the difficulty just ramps up immensely. I feel like it's way more potent than the actual curse system, or in my experience right now it is at least. You know, I'll even take an extra dash. We're going into uncharted territory, and I'm not talking about Nathan Drake's video game series. No, we're really going into the defensive and the utility skills again. It has been a while. Maybe I shouldn't have banned all those defensive skills in the end, huh? But we'll see. We'll see what life brings us, what life throws at us. I know that a lot of my friends are way ahead of me in terms of Soulstone Survivors progression, but they don't have to record every run they do, of course. Well, I don't have to either, but I want to. And I hope you guys are satisfied with that process. Even today, when there's 2 Soulstone Survivors videos coming up. I hope you still find the game interesting to watch and you show your support on the series. As I stated multiple times already, 100 episodes. That's the main mark we're trying to hit. That's what we're going for. Alright, the screen is definitely turning into chaos, so the FPS and bitrates are gonna drop, but I don't mind. And all in all, I'm just glad for my friends that they are enjoying the game. I don't mind them being ahead of me. Oh, this is what we have been looking for so long. Finally applying something more than just the burns that we are probably applying to every target all of the time. I know that my nephew, for example, has already like cleared the max cursed levels, the max cursed level on some of the levels. And I know that my buddy Destroyer has also done the same, I think. But they have just been grinding. They can stop a run, start a new run and stuff. For me, it's a bit different. When I stop a run, and I have to make sure that I move that video from my internal hard drive to the external hard drive. I need to open DaVinci Resolve, make a new project, add the intro, add the outro, adjust the audio levels, add it to the render queue, and then I can potentially start a new run, or I have to go to work, or I have to let the video render and then upload it, which puts my PC out of order for an hour almost most of the time. The life of a content creator, it's not all that easy, you know? It's not all fun and games. Yeah, it is all fun and games. I'm not gonna kid you, it's all fun and games. Alfred, my man, you're about to die, homie. Alright, make sure that I pick another movement speed upgrade when it comes along, because I just picked 2 Leviathan upgrades. Area of... increases the area modifier of your type's missiles. I don't need... Is Fire Shield a missile? Let's go for Leviathan again, but now we really need even more dashes or a movement speed upgrade, because otherwise we're gonna be in big trouble. Sure, come on. We're just going full damage. We're going ham. Movement speed, there we go. Did you guys cop the game already? Did you buy it? Did you purchase it? Did you acquire it? If so, you can always let me know in the comments or on my Discord what kind of builds you have done already that seemed fun, or what kind of builds you want me to try. I'm always up for suggestions, you know, trying new and cool stuff. Unless it's butt stuff. I'm not into butt stuff at all, and I think I will never be. I don't see the appeal of it, unless it's with another man. Eternal Guardian, huh? Let's see how eternal he really is when I apply 15k burn sticks to him in 1 millisecond. Gonna move out of there quickly, let the burn do its thing. Possibly he's just already dead, but it's sticking down. No, we're gonna need to go in, we're gonna need to swoop in for another attack, that's for sure. Make sure all our dashes are up, slowly walking towards him, dodge the giant saw blade, get in there. Ooh, the giant saw blade comes back. It's a boomerang blade. I've realized by now, by the way, that the little prestige material here that I never knew where to use it, it's just something that you cannot use. It's kind of like an XP indicator of how many experience points in the prestige levels you are getting this run. So it's not an actual usable material. It's more like a currency, if you will, like the minor soulstones. Alright. We have to be careful for a second here. We're getting dangerously low. I don't spot any healing crystals on the map though, so I guess we just need to be careful that we don't run into enemies all that often for a while. Try and get another level up, because we know that that heals us, of course. The Lord is here, so it's gonna be dangerous now. It is a plague bearer, so at least it's someone we know the attacks from already, but I would love to find a healing crystal first of all. But there doesn't really seem to be one, so we're in a bit of a pickle. Just move in on the Lord, see what he has to say about this situation. That's what he has to say. There goes my second revive. Alright, we definitely need to pay more attention that we take defensive options in the next turn and don't just banish anything that says a defensive upgrade. Move in for a second, apply some burn, get out of there. That might be the end of him. It sure is. Now let's try and get to that crystal because it will make us level up and get us healthy up to the point of full health again probably. There we go. Well, we have almost completed the cycle, but I think in the previous try on this endless mode we got to one cycle further, right? And we didn't quite complete it then, but I just hope that for the sake of your guys' eyes you have by now realized that you need to minimize this video and just listen to it instead of looking at it, because looking at it will probably irreplaceably damage your retina to a point where you need new eyes. For me, it's of course worth it. I will gladly give up body parts and their functioning to progress in Soulstone Survivors. But for you, because this is not your own progress, it might not be worth it. So pick your fights, you know? Pick your battles. Choose wisely in life. But definitely pick some battles. That's my advice for you today. Don't stay in your comfort zone for eternity. Yesterday, for example, my niece asked me like, hey, do you want to go bouldering with us? Which is a form of indoor climbing. Or not necessarily indoor, but they do it indoor. And I was very doubtful because I just had a nice dinner after coming home from an entire work day. I was chilling in the sofa, really just living the lazy life. And I was like, do I really now want to get on my bike to cycle for 20 minutes to then exercise for an hour and a half probably to then have to cycle back through the cold night? And I was doubtful, but in the end I was gonna do it. Other reasons prohibited me from doing it though, because they were apparently not going to the climbing hall near my house actually, but very far away. So that was not necessarily possible for me to achieve yesterday. But either way, I was proud of myself for convincing myself so quickly to leave the comfort zone, if the possibility did arise. And it's definitely something that I have been learning to deal with more and more. It's also something that very much applies to a new work environment, like the one I just got into. They were asking, for example, like, hey, who wants to act in our little video of this roleplay for our workshop later? And just without thinking, I said yes. And that's also getting out, sorry, got stuck for a second there. Also getting out of the comfort zone, just saying yes to people, saying yes to things that you would normally not necessarily say yes to. And it also applies to household chores, you know. Sometimes you have these things that you still have on your agenda and you're like, no, I don't want to do it, man. I don't want to bring out the trash. I don't want to clean the shower. I don't want to vacuum the floor. And I've started to get into the habit of just doing it first before I get into anything else, because I realize that it's gonna help me out a lot in the future to just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Whew, damn. These runs are long though, I can assure you that much. Let's try and go one level deeper. Keep in mind that we are already going deeper while we are in a cursed environment as well, so the game is already going to be harder. It's been like 2 weeks since I finished my 100k run in October, because we are like the 9th of November right now, and I feel like I've kind of recovered enough to go back to running, to get back into it, you know. I haven't done it yet because I'm kind of postponing it for a second, but I feel like I will do it later this week probably. Not that I will run every day again like I used to at the start of the challenge, or not that I will go for 100k every month, but I will get back into the recreational running. A big inspiration for me on that front lately has been Codyco and his Cody Trains channel. Not a channel about model train content, if you were wondering. No, absolutely not. It's a little inside joke for the people that already know about that channel. Codyco is a famous React YouTuber, although we also make some original content, so I shouldn't just brand him as being one of those React YouTubers, you know. Clearly put some effort into his content and stuff. Either way, now he has also made a training channel where he trains for his marathons, his ultra marathons, his triathlons and things like that. He goes for a lot of bike rides, swims in the ocean, he goes for runs a whole lot. And it's interesting and motivating because he makes it so real, right? He doesn't make it seem happier than it is or more fun than it is, you know. You just have to put in the work and you just have to put in the hours. You have to go on that bike ride, you have to go on that run. And in one of his latest videos, he also told us like, hey, you know, Sometimes you feel like shit and you feel like you desperately want to stay home and don't want to go on a run at all. And then once you leave the house and you take those first steps outside, all of a sudden everything just clears up and you immediately get into that state of runner's high for 40 minutes. And that's something I definitely realize, you know. And that's also a very important lesson we teach people with depressive symptoms when we are applying the cognitive behavioral therapy technique of behavioral activation. People are oftentimes like, well, behavioral activation, I have a video on it if you're wondering. Behavioral activation is all about getting people to do the activities again that normally add value to their life and their personal life. So it's not like, oh, exercise, eat healthy and things like that, things that apply to everyone, but no, specific for every single patient. You think of a plan, a little scheme, a little trajectory, if you will, just focused on their specific talents, needs, the behaviors they normally derive a lot of value from. And there we also tell them how important it is that, well, we know that sometimes you feel like shit before starting an activity and that impedes your motivation to actually start the activity. But once you start the activity, you will feel better. People often think that they need to be in the right mindset to actually go and do a behavior, but sometimes the behavior can have a very big influence on your mindset. It can be the other way around, you know, it can happen vice versa, and that's something people definitely under-evaluate sometimes. They underestimate it. And that is, of course, what cognitive behavioral therapy in general is all about, right? Thinking, doing, and feeling. The differences between those aspects, the interactions between those aspects, and the similarities, and how they can influence each other. And that's where worrying is, of course, again, a very important concept. Let's go for Unbreakable. A very important concept to look at, because it's a form of thinking, worrying, because it's not doing. A lot of people have the misconception that when they are worrying about their problems, they are actually trying to solve them and they are working on their problems, but that's not really true. When you're worrying about something, you are not actively engaged in trying to do something about the problem. Most of the time you are just, you're worrying about it, which makes sense, of course, because that's a literal word. I guess we got hit by the boss. I'll try to add a little replay in there of what happened, because I'm not so sure myself, but of course, because that's a literal word. I guess that's the end of our run. Didn't necessarily expect that to happen. I thought we were on a roll. We were on a blast, and we were just getting into a very interesting subject that I had a lot to say about, but I guess I'll have to save it for the next episode or something. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the afternoon for another Soulstone Survivors video. Bye-bye. I'm sorry for the anticlimactic ending, but I didn't see it coming either. See you later. It was still fun though.